Hi guys, Andrew from Polo Reef here. Another episode, part 2 of our regular routine maintenance dive. I just want to highlight the extreme amount of teamwork involved in this process. The work being done by the coral care in the back, the divers, and the vet. And you won't believe what he finds.
Lighting for any reef aquarium system is incredibly important. Outside of making a tank look beautiful, some coral use light as a food source. Too much or too little light can stress the coral and weaken its immune system. A disease outbreak can spread really quickly in an aquarium. This makes it really important on getting the light just right.
It needs more light. And we got to get something that's shaded over there instead.
Patty is the diver for today's mission. She will have the delicate job of testing the light intensity from different areas and angles in the 17,000 gallon tank. As always, she conducts her pre-dive checks before entering the water and getting on scuba. Polo Reef uses a PAR meter to test lighting intensity. For this dive, Patty will take the sensor and place it in different areas throughout the tank, and Andrew will be able to see the readings on his display without getting wet.
270 to 290 to 300. That's 170, 180. Keep going up. On the aquaros, you want to be sort of above 200, maybe below 500. And that's exactly what we got.
Coral is affected by both the intensity and the color of the lighting system.
260. I actually turned down the blue and the violets a little bit yesterday, thinking maybe that was causing some of the Monty white spots, which really, it's like a white bleach out. Or it could be a bacterial infection, and sometimes we put amoxicillin paste on it. Was 62, that's 86, that's good. 90. That should be a little higher. That's 160. That should be 203, that's fine. 220.
The larger coral on top have shaded the coral below. This may cause disease, so the coral has to be moved. It's easier said than done.
Shades. How's she gonna fit it up there? There's no way.
The coral Patty has is too big, and it doesn't look like there's room for it.
I think it's. I would bring it forward a little bit too.
But Patty's the right diver for the job. She'll make sure she gets it done.
Just like that.
After a few attempts, Patty finds the perfect spot. Andrew, he seems to agree.
That's not bad. Perfect spot.
Coral does need space to grow, but it's also important to Andrew that it matches the rest of the coral that it's living next to.
Perfect.
After finding the perfect spot, it's time to secure the coral to the rockscape. The first step is to use glue to secure the foot of the coral to the rock.
What do you think? That looks pretty good, Don, no?
Yeah. Perfect lighting for that.
Yes.
Next, epoxy is used to completely secure the coral to the rockscape. The underwater epoxy that Polo Reef uses is completely safe for both fish and coral.
We love this spot, with the exception of as it grows out, the risk is that as a diver walks, the path isn't clear and you can knock it. So we'll have to keep an eye on keeping it trimmed. There's also a downlight about there that I hope doesn't create too much par now. Where it was over there was not enough par.
On the other side of the tank, Andrew locates a spot that he wants Patty to inspect. This area is deep and can sometimes cause issues. Previously, a coral had white spots on it that was living in this area.
43, guys. No light.
Low, yeah.
There was no light there.
Must have been Moody's or something.
Go down. Right there. 111. It is not light. 95 there. Here?
Andrew is right. He tries to communicate to Patty that this spot is a weak area for lighting, and it might be the culprit.
No light. 0. Yeah, so you see what happens. It's being shadowed by the corals above it. Instead of being too much light, it looks like there was not enough light. So now he'll check for bugs on the Monty.
Based on the reading, the team decides to remove the coral and send it to the lab. It's a very difficult spot to check any disease.
She's going after this grafted Monty. She wants it out first so Dunn can inspect it.
This coral is not only delicate, but rare. Moving it will be very difficult.
It's loosening up, and it's gonna come out. She's got it. Again, we're not sure whether this is pests, whether this is bacterial infection.
Andrew can tell how difficult that area is to remove a large colony. One wrong move could break or crack another coral.
Oh, I think she's gonna have to try to break something. There she is. No, she determined. She went the long, hard route, and there it comes. Congratulations to Patty on that beautiful pull.
Dunn takes the troubled coral and brings it to the lab to inspect it further and diagnose it.
We let it sit for 20 minutes. Then I'll use a turkey baster to blow it out, see if anything else comes off. And then it should be good to go wherever it needs to be.
As the coral is being treated in the lab, Patty will continue her routine maintenance process of using fresh water to blow off the coral in the 17,000 gallon tank. Yeltsin does his checks before the hose is handed off.
That's fresh water, RO. And what that does is, if there's flatworms on the corals,
Go under it.
it takes them up into the water column. They release, and the fish eat them.
Yeah.
The water used to blow off the coral, it's not ordinary water. It's water that has been treated through Polo Reef's reverse osmosis deionized system. It takes regular water and runs it through pre-filters, carbon, and the reverse osmosis membranes. The system will then discharge wastewater through one line and produce the final product through another, commonly referred to as RO water.
Reverse osmosis water should just be as pure water as we could produce here in the house. If we don't use RO water, we could be introducing heavy metals and other toxins that would have adverse effects to the corals and also to algae growth and be detrimental to the aquarium.
As the team continues their routine work, Alex the vet shows up for his weekly visit.
Hello, Alex. How you feeling?
All right. How you guys doing?
Alex the vet started with Polo Reef just this year. He's very passionate about his job, and he's helped increase the Polo Reef standard of care.
So I'm just taking a look at those dark spots, just making sure that they're not amphipods, copepods, or anything like that.
Using a cell phone and a microscope, Alex can zoom in to look at the coral further.
So I'm looking for stuff like that, just to make sure that it's not a parasitic species of copepod. It's just hard to identify this way to make sure that that's not a pathogenic species. So then I'll use the light microscope just to confirm that it's just a normal species that's typically found in the tank.
The features on the cell phone allow Alex many different tools to identify threats.
I look for movement of things that are small, but I'll run like a time lapse so that any fine movements gets picked up. Again, I'll run it for like 2-3 minutes, and anything that's little that I normally wouldn't pick up with my eye. And I can see that the edge of this coral has some damage to it. So again, is it damaged because it was rubbed against something, or is it damaged because there's some sort of parasite here? And again, a lot of times since they're clear, seeing them with the naked eye is hard. So I use the scope, and then again, time lapse it. So again, I can see any fine movements. So now we'll run it back. Yeah, so I'm not seeing any movement, which is a good thing. And this one will go into quarantine, where I'll check it again in a couple days.
During this particular examination, Alex finds something he rarely sees. He goes in for a closer look, and he's surprised. He quickly grabs the team to explain what it is.
Common name is sea spiders. They can be smaller than that to multiple feet wide. They can get huge. This species is just a smaller kind. I've never seen a bigger one. So they don't kill coral, they'll just irritate zoanthids, but they supposedly reproduce sexually, so you never really see a bunch of them unless they're all reproducing on the same coral. But they're quite irritating and freaky looking. So these guys are pretty cool. I'm just gonna put a little piece of substrate in there for him so he can flip himself over. I'm not sure what the team is gonna want to do with him. They're pretty rare. Again, sometimes in like zoanthid colonies, but rarely do I see them in acros. I'd like to keep them as a pet, but we'll see.
Routine maintenance at Polo Reef requires a team of dedicated and passionate people. Over the years, Andrew's done a great job at finding the best talent to keep Polo Reef running smoothly.
Hope you guys like this video. I know that you guys love to see the stuff in the back and the teamwork involved. If you like this content, please subscribe on our YouTube channel so we can bring you more of this content. Thank you very much. See you next week.